The Roman Empire, at its absolute zenith in 117 AD, stood as an unparalleled testament to human ambition and organization. Under the wise and formidable Emperor Trajan, Rome's dominion stretched across an astonishing 5 million square kilometers, a vast tapestry of lands reaching from the rain-swept shores of Britain to the ancient sands of Egypt, and from the sun-drenched plains of Spain to the mysterious lands of Mesopotamia.
Over 50 million souls, a staggering 20% of the entire global population, lived and prospered beneath the eagles of Roman rule. This incredible civilization engineered over 250,000 meters of sophisticated Roman roads, a network that stitched together its sprawling territories, while its revolutionary Roman legal system laid foundational principles that echo in our jurisprudence even today.
For 2 centuries, the unparalleled Pax Romana, a period of profound peace and stability across the Mediterranean, solidified Rome's status as the longest-lasting superpower in Western history, a beacon of order and progress. However, the very scale that defined Rome's greatness would in time become its Achilles heel. By the tumultuous 3rd century, the sheer enormity of the empire proved too unwieldy, too immense to be governed with the efficiency it once commanded. The infamous crisis of the 3rd century plunged Rome into chaos, witnessing an astonishing 26 emperors ascend and fall in a mere 50 years, most meeting their end through violent assassination. The economy crumbled as rampant inflation destroyed the currency. Silver content in coins plummeting from a proud 90% to a mere 5%, rendering money virtually worthless. Simultaneously, the empire's vast, exposed borders became increasingly porous, constantly threatened by persistent raids from fierce Germanic tribes.
In a desperate bid to preserve the crumbling realm, Emperor Diocletian, in 285 AD, made the momentous decision to formally split the colossal empire into 2 distinct entities, the eastern and western halves, hoping to make it more manageable. A few decades later, in 330 AD, Emperor Constantine further solidified this division by moving the imperial capital eastward to the burgeoning city of Constantinople, irrevocably shifting the heart of power away from Rome.
While the Eastern Empire found new vitality, the Western Empire grew progressively weaker, its dwindling legions stretched thin, defending an immense 4,000-mile frontier against relentless external pressures.
By 400 AD, the nature of the threat had evolved. Germanic tribes were no longer merely raiding, they were now boldly settling within the very borders of the empire, carving out their own domains. The unthinkable happened in 410 AD, when the Visigoths brutally sacked the eternal city of Rome itself, an event not seen in 800 years. Just 45 years later, in 455 AD, the Vandals repeated the humiliation, sacking it once more.
Roman emperors, once supreme, were reduced to mere puppets, their strings pulled by powerful Germanic generals.
The final ignominious end came not with a roar, but a whimper. On September 4th, 476 AD, the Germanic chieftain Odoacer simply deposed the 16-year-old emperor Romulus Augustus, the last Western Roman emperor. Instead of claiming the purple for himself, Odoacer, with a chilling pragmatism, sent the imperial regalia not to Rome, but directly to Constantinople, a silent acknowledgement of where true power lay.
There was no grand climactic battle, no dramatic final siege. The magnificent Western Roman Empire, after ruling for 500 years, simply ceased to exist, fading into administrative dissolution. Odoacer subsequently declared himself king of Italy, and across the breadth of the West, Roman provinces were steadily replaced by a patchwork of emerging Germanic kingdoms. Europe, once unified under Rome, thus descended into what history would later term the Dark Ages, a profound shift marking the end of an era. The Roman Empire's decline was gradual, but then a new force emerged. In 1206, a legendary figure, Genghis Khan masterfully united the disparate nomadic tribes of the vast steppes.
From this crucible, he forged an unstoppable military machine, laying the foundations for the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever witnessed. This colossal domain stretched across an astonishing 12 million square miles, a breathtaking expanse reaching from the eastern shores of Korea all the way to the distant lands of Hungary in the west.
At its absolute zenith, under the astute leadership of his grandson, Kublai Khan, the Mongol Empire commanded the lives of an immense 110 million people, an astonishing 25% of the entire global population at the time. They innovated with an ingenious postal system, effectively shrinking continents, and secured the vital arteries of trade, the Silk Road.
Yet their conquests came at a horrific cost, with an estimated 40 million lives lost, a devastating 10% of humanity wiped out in their relentless expansion.
The Mongols achieved their unparalleled success through a fearsome combination of superior military tactics, impeccable logistics, and unyielding brutality. Their cavalry, unparalleled in speed, could cover an astonishing 60 miles a day, a pace 3 times faster than any contemporary army.
Psychological warfare was not merely a tactic, it was ingrained policy. Cities were given a stark ultimatum: surrender immediately or face total annihilation. The message was clear, the consequences dire.
By the year 1241, their unstoppable horde had swept across China, devoured Central Asia, laid waste to Persia, subjugated Russia, and even raided deep into the heartlands of Poland and Hungary.
But the seeds of fragmentation were sown. When the formidable Genghis Khan finally passed away in 1227, the immense empire, built on his singular will, immediately faced the peril of succession disputes among his ambitious sons.
The vast realm was subsequently carved into 4 major khanates: the formidable Golden Horde dominating Russia, the culturally rich Ilkhanate in Persia, the strategic Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia, and the mighty Yuan dynasty firmly established in China.
The vast realm was subsequently carved into 4 major khanates: the formidable Golden Horde dominating Russia, the culturally rich Ilkhanate in Persia, the strategic Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia, and the mighty Yuan dynasty firmly established in China.
By 1260, these once unified territories had become effectively independent entities, bound only by a nominal, fading allegiance. Even Kublai Khan, who bravely proclaimed himself Great Khan, found his authority severely undermined, unable to enforce his will upon his powerful and increasingly autonomous cousins.
The Ilkhanate in Persia rapidly assimilated, converting to Islam and adopting Persian culture, marking a divergence. Meanwhile, internal strife festered, with the Golden Horde engaging in fierce conflict with the Ilkhanate in the 1260s.
In China, Kublai Khan eventually completed the conquest, yet he was perpetually plagued by relentless rebellions from the numerous Han Chinese majority who resented foreign rule.
Then a new, unseen enemy emerged, the devastating Black Death, possibly spread along the very trade routes the Mongols had secured, swept across the continent in the 1340s and 1350s, killing millions and catastrophically destabilizing the fractured empire.
The plague weakened the Yuan dynasty, creating an opportunity. In 1368, a charismatic Chinese rebel leader, Zhu Yuanzhang, seized Beijing, successfully driving the Mongol invaders back to the vast open steppes from whence they came. The mighty Yuan dynasty collapsed.
With the Mongols expelled, the glorious Ming dynasty rose to power, reasserting native Chinese rule.
By the year 1400, the once unrivaled Mongol Empire had utterly splintered, reduced to a collection of minor, insignificant steppe kingdoms. The largest contiguous land empire in all of history had, remarkably, disintegrated in less than 150 years.
For over 6 centuries, the mighty Ottoman Empire stood as a colossus, its influence stretching across 3 vast continents, from the vibrant markets of Budapest in the north to the ancient lands of Baghdad in the east. and from the bustling ports of Algiers to the strategic shores of the Persian Gulf, its dominion was undeniable.
At its formidable peak in 1683, this colossal realm encompassed an astounding 5.2 million square kilometers, home to a diverse population of 30 million souls.
A pivotal moment in history arrived in 1453 when the Ottomans achieved the seemingly impossible, the conquest of Constantinople, finally bringing an end to the venerable Byzantine Empire.
Their formidable fleets commanded the vital Mediterranean trade routes, their formidable armies twice casting a terrifying shadow upon the gates of Vienna, a testament to their military prowess.
What they built was a truly remarkable Ottoman multi-ethnic and multi-religious state, a society that endured for an astonishing duration, outlasting every empire since the grandeur of Rome itself.
The empire reached its zenith, a glorious golden age, under the brilliant leadership of Suleiman the Magnificent in the 1500s, a period of unparalleled expansion and cultural flourishing. Yet, as the 1700s dawned, a creeping shadow emerged. Military stagnation began to set in, slowly eroding the empire's once unassailable strength.
The elite Janissaries, once the vanguard of Ottoman power, tragically transformed into a conservative political force, vehemently resisting any attempts at vital modernization, becoming a barrier to progress.
The consequences were dire. The empire began to hemorrhage territory with every successive conflict. Hungary was lost to Austria in 1699, a significant blow.
Crimea, a strategically crucial region, fell under Russian dominion in 1774, further diminishing Ottoman influence.
By 1805, even the fertile lands of Egypt, a jewel in the empire's crown, had effectively asserted their independence, severing direct Ottoman control.
By the dawn of the 19th century, the once feared empire was cruelly branded the sick man of Europe, a stark testament to its visible decline and vulnerability. A wave of fervent nationalist movements swept across its diverse provinces. Greece bravely fought for and gained its independence in 1832, followed by Serbia in 1878, each carving away pieces of the old empire.
Desperate attempts at reform were made, notably the Tanzimat modernization efforts throughout the 1800s and the introduction of a constitutional monarchy in 1876.
But these efforts, though well-intentioned, proved to be too little, too late, and ultimately too limited to halt the inexorable march of decline.
In 1914, the Ottomans made a truly fatal decision, aligning themselves with Germany in the cataclysmic global conflict of World War I.
The war brought devastating losses. British and Arab forces captured the holy city of Jerusalem in 1917, and then the ancient heart of Damascus fell in 1918.
The conflict exacted a horrific toll, with the empire losing an estimated 3 million precious lives. Finally, on November 1, 1922, the Turkish Grand National Assembly, with a decisive vote, chose to abolish the Sultanate. The magnificent Ottoman Empire, which had proudly endured for an astonishing 624 years, was formally dissolved, closing an epic chapter in world history. Following the pivotal arrival of Columbus in the Americas in 1492, Spain embarked upon an ambitious journey, forging the very first truly global empire, a colossal dominion where the sun literally never set.
By the dawn of the 17th century, a mere 100 years later, Spain's influence stretched across vast swaths of South and Central America, extended to the distant shores of the Philippines, and held sway over significant territories in Italy, the Netherlands, and Portugal.
This unprecedented wealth flowed primarily from the legendary silver of Potosi, deep within modern-day Bolivia, transforming Spain into the undisputed wealthiest nation in all of Europe. At its zenith, this magnificent empire commanded an astounding 13.7 million square kilometers.
Majestic Spanish galleons, laden with precious cargo, crisscrossed the oceans, seamlessly connecting 4 continents and establishing the first truly interconnected global trade network the world had ever seen.
However, this immense power, largely built upon the finite torrent of American silver, harbored profound and ultimately fatal weaknesses. A rampant and devastating inflation gripped the Spanish economy, with prices skyrocketing by an astonishing 400% throughout the 1500s, gutting its fiscal stability.
Compounding this internal decay, Spain found itself embroiled in relentless, costly wars, an 80-year struggle against the resilient Protestant Dutch rebels in the Netherlands, a monumental confrontation with England, culminating in the crushing defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588, and numerous conflicts with France. The empire was hemorrhaging its precious resources at an alarming rate, far faster than the silver mines of the Americas could replenish its coffers. Plagued by unsustainable expenditures, Spain was forced to declare national bankruptcy an astonishing 7 times between 1557 and 1696. The twilight of this once glorious empire arrived decisively on December 10, 1898. With the signing of the Treaty of Paris, Spain was compelled to cede its cherished overseas territories, the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico, to the burgeoning power of the United States.
Cuba, though nominally gaining independence, remained firmly under U.S. control. These agreements marked the tragic loss of Spain's last truly significant overseas possessions. An empire that had once literally spanned the entire globe, casting its shadow across continents and oceans, was now tragically reduced to its European homeland, a mere shadow of its former self.
After losing many of its overseas possessions, one empire still stood as a colossus, spanning continents, the British Empire. In its magnificent zenith in 1920, this formidable power extended its dominion over an astonishing 35.5 million square kilometers, a staggering quarter of the Earth's land surface.
Its vast populace numbered 412 million souls, constituting a full fifth of the global population. The mighty Royal Navy, with its armada of 1,400 warships, ruled the waves unchallenged, ensuring that quite literally, the sun never dared to set on the British Empire. From the icy reaches of Canada to the sun-baked plains of Australia, the bustling cities of India, and significant territories across Africa, its influence was undeniable. Strategic bastions like the Fortress of Gibraltar, the vital port of Singapore, and the burgeoning hub of Hong Kong underscored its global reach.
However, the first cracks in this seemingly invincible edifice appeared with the cataclysmic onset of World War I. The conflict bled Britain white, claiming the lives of nearly 900,000 valiant British soldiers and sending its national debt spiraling to unprecedented, crippling levels.
This immense sacrifice and financial strain began to fuel the fires of independence movements across the empire. Most notably, the spirit of self-determination surged in Ireland, achieving its partial independence in 1922, and similarly in Egypt that same pivotal year.
Then came World War II, a conflict that delivered the decisive, devastating blow. Britain poured 25% of its entire national wealth into the desperate fight against Nazi Germany.
By 1945, the empire's coffers were utterly depleted, leaving Britain effectively bankrupt and heavily reliant on crucial loans from the United States. The sheer, unsustainable cost meant that maintaining such a sprawling empire became an impossible dream. India, often revered as the jewel in the crown, now unequivocally demanded its long overdue freedom. Britain, financially exhausted and militarily overstretched, simply lacked the means or the will to suppress these aspirations any longer.
A momentous day arrived on August 15, 1947, when both India and Pakistan achieved their independence, liberating an astonishing 380 million people from imperial rule overnight.
This monumental event ignited a rapid cascade of decolonization throughout the 1950s and 60s, witnessing nations like Ghana in 1957, Nigeria in 1960, and Kenya in 1963 rise to self-governance. The empire, in its traditional form, was gradually superseded by the Commonwealth, a voluntary association bound by symbolic ties to the British Crown, rather than colonial subjugation. Finally, on the stroke of midnight, June 30th, 1997, the last significant vestige of British imperial power dissolved.
Hong Kong, a territory leased from China for 99 years in 1898, was ceremoniously returned to Chinese sovereignty. With that poignant handover, the sun truly set, for good, on the British Empire, marking the definitive end of an era.
In the vibrant 1920s, the French colonial empire reached its spectacular peak, a sprawling dominion of 13.5 million square kilometers, making it the second largest global power, surpassed only by the British. With an astonishing population of 150 million souls under its rule, France exerted its profound influence across vast stretches of West and Central Africa, the exotic lands of Indochina, the scattered Pacific Islands, and the sun-drenched Caribbean. Distinct from Britain's predominantly commercial approach, France championed a unique policy of cultural assimilation, striving to imbue its colonial subjects with French values and identity. The melodious French language became the cornerstone of education throughout its African territories, and for many, Paris itself, the dazzling city of lights, was reverently considered the cherished mother country, even among those under its imperial thumb.
However, the devastating shadow of World War II irrevocably shattered France's imperial prestige. In a stunning and humiliating defeat in 1940, France rapidly fell to Germany in a mere 6 weeks, a catastrophic blow that exposed its deep vulnerabilities. Far-flung colonies, from the resilient spirit of Vietnam to the burgeoning national consciousness in Algeria, witnessed French weakness firsthand, igniting sparks of defiance. Following the joyful liberation in 1945, France, still reeling but determined, attempted to reassert its firm control over its vast territories. Yet one jewel in its crown, Algeria, proved particularly thorny. Home to over 1 million European settlers, France resolutely refused to let it go. This fierce resistance culminated in the brutal Algerian War, which erupted in 1954. The National Liberation Front, or FLN, rose with an unwavering demand for complete independence, met with France's deployment of 400,000 troops. The conflict descended into a horrifying abyss of brutality, marked by widespread torture, indiscriminate massacres, and acts of terrorism from both sides. By 1962, the human cost was staggering. An estimated 300,000 Algerians and 30,000 French lives were tragically lost. The Algerian War threatened to tear France itself apart, nearly plunging the nation into a bitter civil war. In a dramatic display of insubordination, army generals even attempted a coup in 1961, desperately striving to preserve Algeria as French territory. It was in this crucible of crisis that President Charles de Gaulle, a towering figure who had initially supported maintaining French Algeria, faced the stark reality. He recognized with profound pragmatism that the war was utterly unwinnable. Consequently, on the historic date of March 18, 1962, de Gaulle bravely signed the Evian Accords, a landmark agreement finally granting Algeria its long-sought independence. This momentous decision paved the way for a rapid wave of decolonization across the continent. In a single transformative year, 1960, France granted independence to most of its sub-Saharan African colonies. A staggering 14 countries achieved their sovereignty. Thus, within a mere 2 decades, the once mighty French colonial empire, the second largest in the world, dramatically dissolved. Across the seas, a new and formidable power was emerging from centuries of isolation. In a breathtaking 77 years,
the Japanese Empire experienced the fastest imperial ascent in modern history. Driven by the transformative Meiji Restoration of 1868, Japan rapidly industrialized, shedding its feudal past for an era of unprecedented speed and ambition. By the year 1942, this formidable empire had unfurled its banners across an astonishing 7.4 million square kilometers. Its grasp extended from the Korean peninsula and Taiwan through the fertile lands of Manchuria and much of China's coast, sweeping across Indochina, the Philippines, Indonesia, and a myriad of Pacific islands, reaching perilously close to the shores of Australia itself. More than 500 million souls found themselves living under Japanese occupation, a testament to the sheer scale of its dominion. This meteoric rise was fueled by a fierce combination of acute resource scarcity and an unyielding military ambition, determined to carve out Japan's place as a dominant force. The world watched in stunned disbelief as Japan secured a resounding victory over Russia in 1905, marking a truly historic moment. For the very first time in modern warfare, an Asian power had decisively defeated a European empire, signaling a dramatic shift in the global balance of power. Following this pivotal triumph, Japan's imperial ambitions accelerated. Korea was formally annexed in 1910, and during the chaos of World War I, it seized German Pacific Islands. The invasion of Manchuria in 1931 further expanded its continental foothold.
However, the true intensity of expansion ignited after 1937. The brutal invasion of China cost millions of lives and significantly bogged down Japanese forces. Desperate for vital resources like oil and rubber, Japan launched a swift invasion of Southeast Asia between 1941 and 1942, unleashing a simultaneous, devastating attack on Pearl Harbor.
By mid-1942, the vastness of the Japanese Empire was undeniable, yet it was fatally overstretched. Its reign was marked by profound brutality, and despite its size, the entire enterprise was ultimately unsustainable, teetering on the brink of collapse.
The American counteroffensive began with relentless island-hopping campaigns, meticulously recapturing territory. Each island became a brutal battlefield. Guadalcanal, Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa fell, one after another, pushing the tide of war back towards Japan.
By 1945, American B-29 bombers unleashed a terrifying campaign of firebombing raids across Japan. Tokyo, Osaka, and over 60 other major cities were engulfed in infernos, reduced to smoldering ruins.
Then came the unimaginable. On August 6, 1945, the atomic bomb obliterated Hiroshima, instantly killing 80,000 people. 3 days later, on August 9th, a second atomic bomb brought similar devastation to Nagasaki.
On August 15, 1945, in an unprecedented moment, Emperor Hirohito addressed his nation via radio for the first time. With a somber tone, he announced Japan's unconditional surrender, diplomatically stating the war situation was not necessarily to Japan's advantage. Japan, a nation that had never before known defeat or conquest, had finally fallen. The mighty Japanese Empire was over.
While the brutal Nazi regime crumbles after just 12 years, an empire of a different kind, the Soviet Union, had stood for a formidable 69 years. Born from revolution, the USSR grew into the world's first communist superpower, and colossal entities stretching across an astonishing 11 time zones and encompassing a staggering 22.4 million square kilometers, making it the largest country ever to exist.
At its zenith in the vibrant 1970s, this formidable state boasted a population of 290 million souls, commanded the world's second-largest economy, possessed an awe-inspiring arsenal of 40,000 nuclear weapons, and extended its influence over a full third of humanity through a network of communist parties spanning the globe. The Soviet system had achieved truly rapid industrialization,
transforming an agrarian society into a mighty industrial power. And most critically, it played a pivotal, albeit costly, role in winning World War II, enduring the devastating loss of 27 million lives.
However, beneath this veneer of strength, by the 1970s, insidious cracks began to appear. The rigid, centrally planned economy, once a source of pride, now stagnated, unable to innovate or meet the burgeoning needs of its people. Consumer goods became increasingly scarce, leaving citizens yearning for basic comforts, while its technology fell further and further behind the rapid advancements of the Western world.
Adding to the internal decay, the protracted and devastating war in Afghanistan, fought from 1979 to 1989, claimed the lives of 15,000 Soviet soldiers and deeply demoralized its once proud military, draining vital resources and public morale.
Then, in 1985, a new leader emerged, Mikhail Gorbachev. He took the helm with a visionary yet ultimately revolutionary agenda of reforms. He introduced glasnost, or openness, encouraging greater transparency and freedom of expression, and perestroika, meaning restructuring, aiming to revitalize the ailing economy and political system.
Gorbachev's sincere intention was to save communism, to breathe new life into it. Instead, he unwittingly unleashed powerful forces that would ultimately dismantle it. Once the people were given a voice, once they could speak freely without fear, their demands for fundamental change became an unstoppable torrent. The year 1989 witnessed a monumental shift. The Berlin Wall, that stark symbol of division, dramatically fell.
Across Eastern Europe, one by one, the Soviet satellite states, long bound by communist ideology and Soviet power, began to shed their chains. Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, and East Germany all embraced newfound freedom in a single earth-shattering year.
The summer of 1991 brought a desperate final stand. In August, hardline communists, fearing the complete unraveling of their power, attempted a desperate coup to halt the reforms and restore the old order. But their efforts were met with courageous resistance. Boris Yeltsin, the charismatic president of the Russian Republic, famously stood atop a tank outside the Russian parliament building in Moscow, a defiant symbol rallying the people against the coup plotters. The coup swiftly collapsed within 3 days, but the damage was done. The Soviet Union was irrevocably finished.
A solemn twilight fell upon the empire on December 25, 1991. At precisely 7:35 p.m. Moscow time, Mikhail Gorbachev appeared on national television, his voice heavy with resignation, as he formally announced his stepping down as president of the Soviet Union. In a historic act, he signed a decree transferring ultimate control of the vast Soviet nuclear arsenal to Boris Yeltsin.
As midnight struck, the hammer and sickle flag, a symbol that had flown over the Kremlin for nearly 7 decades, was solemnly lowered for the very last time. In its place, the flag of the Russian Federation rose, signifying a new dawn. The Soviet Union, once an indomitable force, simply ceased to exist. After the devastating cataclysm of World War II, a new titan rose from the ashes, the United States. It swiftly emerged as the world's unequivocal superpower, establishing itself as the first truly global hegemon. In 1945, America commanded a staggering 50% of the world's gross domestic product, possessing a unique, terrifying power with the only nuclear weapons until 1949. Its military presence spanned the globe, with bases strategically positioned on 6 continents, projecting unparalleled force. The American dollar solidified its reign, becoming the unchallenged global reserve currency, the bedrock of international trade and finance.
Simultaneously, American culture, from its captivating movies and infectious music to its iconic fast food, began an irresistible spread, permeating societies worldwide and reshaping global tastes. By 1991, with the dramatic collapse of the Soviet Union, the United States stood without any true rival.
This was its unipolar moment, a period of singular dominance unmatched by any empire in recorded history. American supremacy rested on an intricate tripod of overwhelming military might, formidable economic power, and a meticulously crafted network of alliances. NATO steadfastly protected Europe, while key military bases in Japan, South Korea, and Germany allowed the projection of power across vast distances, ensuring stability and influence.
Remarkably, the US had navigated the treacherous Cold War, securing victory without a direct catastrophic confrontation with the Soviet Union itself.
The decisive Gulf War in 1991 further underscored this overwhelming military superiority, showcasing advanced technology and strategic prowess. As the new millennium dawned in 2000, America appeared utterly invincible, an unassailable colossus. But then the unthinkable happened. On September 11, 2001, the world watched in horror as America was struck at its very heart.
The United States launched invasions into Afghanistan and Iraq, embarking on 2 harrowing decades of prolonged, costly warfare that strained its resources and resolve.
Just 7 years later, in 2008, a devastating financial crisis erupted, originating within America's own borders, sending shockwaves across the globe and severely damaging international confidence in its economic leadership. Simultaneously, a new power was ascendant. China's economy began to grow at an exponential, unprecedented rate, eventually reaching a remarkable 70% of US GDP by 2020, signaling a dramatic shift in global economic balance.
Internally, American political dysfunction became increasingly pronounced. Deepening polarization, disruptive government shutdowns, and fiercely contested elections became alarmingly commonplace, revealing clear signs of internal strain.
By 2020, the cracks were undeniable. The chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, mirroring the painful echoes of Vietnam, further dented America's international prestige and credibility.
Globally, China intensified its challenge to American supremacy, not just economically but militarily. It aggressively built a formidable navy poised to rival that of the US, while investing trillions into its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, weaving a vast web of infrastructure and influence across Asia and Africa.
Then, in 2022, Russia's brazen invasion of Ukraine rigorously tested Western unity and resolve, causing America's allies to openly question its reliability and leadership on the global stage.
Domestically, America grappled with widening inequality, crumbling infrastructure, and a disturbing resurgence of political violence.
The ununipolar moment is unequivocally over. The pressing question is no longer whether America remains a powerful nation, it undeniably does, but rather whether it will continue to stand alone as the singular superpower.
The answer, etched into the unfolding narrative of the 21st century, remains tantalizingly, frighteningly unclear. Before we delve deeper into the complex dynamics of imperial power, remember to click that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support fuels our continuous journey through history's most compelling sagas.
Now, let's turn our gaze to a military force steeped in legend and controversy, the formidable Russian army. This is the very same army that, in recent memory, was widely believed capable of seizing Kiev within a mere 3 days. Yet it is crucial to remember that the Russian army entered the 20th century already possessing a truly massive and deeply ingrained reputation for its might and resilience.